What's going on, guys? So this is the Cybertrix knife. I did a video on it, and when I did the full video, I took it a little bit apart. And then there were comments in there about the pivot because I didn't really expose the pivot because there is no hardware whatsoever on the outside. So some of the people made some comments, asked some questions. So I wanted to follow up and kind of really take it apart at a higher level just to kind of show where it is and how it does. So the back spacer here is spring loaded. So you have to kind of get something in there, lift it up to get it off of its little hook. And we'll show you that more inside. Then you have to unlock it so that this piece can come all the way out. Okay. It kind of just springs around that little nub in the back. All right, so then you get it this far, you kind of pull it apart a little bit, and then it swings open. Okay, so that's about as far as I went in the previous video. And then everybody's like, well, how do you get to the pivot and what's what? So I figured let's take the scales off, just these guys here. And this is a therapeutic edges knife. So he gave me full permission to do this. And I like to use my Blade HQ donut themed mat when I take stuff apart here. And it kind of helps me not lose stuff, hopefully. And so, yeah, little tiny screws. I think these are T8s. I didn't look at what tool I grabbed. I just grabbed the one that fit. Yeah, T8s. So once you get that one off, all three of those screws, then this just pops off. Okay. Now you can get to the hardware for the pocket clip if you need to take that off. It's got some oils and stuff in here. And then you can get to the pivot. And you can take that apart. So it's really and I believe this is 440C cage. And let's just go ahead and take this other side off too, just because we're already here. Now, to me, it's a little odd because like the blade's just kind of flopping around. We had to unlock it to open some stuff and I don't know. Is it the safest way to take things apart and to design it? I don't know. I'm not a designer or an engineer in this world. So I'm just kind of chatting. And so now you can actually, from what I understand, is put it sort of back together and it's still a functioning knife. We haven't released the pivot. I mean, the stop pin isn't really there, so it's not going to really work. But you get the idea of how it works. And then now we can take apart the pivot. Let me grab a towel here because my fingers got some oil on it. Probably, maybe it's a T8. Or is that going to go step up? Yep. Oh, boy. Okay, that's tight. I may have to... there you go. Might be a captured pivot on the other side. Whoops. And so there you go. We got some bearings and away you go. So I'm not going to take it all apart and do a bunch of fancy stuff. I just wanted to kind of give you an idea because there were comments in the previous video of how does it actually work. So let's see if I can get this back together. What is a little odd is because you have to kind of put it together, take it apart, put it together, take it apart to check the action and stuff. So that's, you can't adjust the pivot once it's sealed up. So you kind of got to get it centered while it's in this orientation. So again, that's odd to me too. Like I don't know. Is it just me or is it just a weird configuration? and how to get it all working properly when it's partially disassembled and you can't really put it together without, you know, this is going to kind of suck. One of the reasons I didn't really want to mess with the pivot, because now it's certainly too tight. Wasn't perfectly centered beforehand, so it's okay. But yeah, it's just a little odd of a knife for me. I didn't really love it in the first place because of the look and the aesthetics and the whatnot. But yeah, it's weird because tuning it without it all the way together is really weird. Really weird to me. And it's not going to really center. And you don't know if the pivot is too tight or too loose. So I'm going to have to play with it some. We'll get it back together real quick, and then I'll call it a day, but we may have to work on it in the background afterwards. So interesting design, but not really my favorite design. Okay, so yeah, it's weird. I'm not a designer, so I don't know if, but they went to a lot of lengths to make no hardware on the outside, which just makes it more complex. So if you're going to take this knife out and you're going to use it and you're going to carry it and you're going to take it on a trip, and if it gets a bunch of gunk inside, well, yeah, that's going to suck. Because it's kind of interesting to take apart and put together and all that. So, I don't know. I'm not a fan. I think I made that clear already, so I don't need to go into a lot of detail about that. But let's get it back together. I do need to get this back to a therapeutic edge at some point, along with the rest of the knives that he lent me. But I'm in no hurry. He's in no hurry. He's got a bunch of knives that have to go back to Aussie Mike. So no need to get them back to him until I can get the other ones back, yada, yada, yada. All right, almost there. But yeah, like I said, I may have to adjust this more because of the pivot. So the backspacer acts as the stop pin as well. Yep, pivot's a little tight. So you got to take it all back apart to tighten it, to loosen it up a little bit. Not a fan. So I will do that off camera, but there you go. That's the breakdown kind of this Cybertrix knife. Let me know your thoughts.